Today's BurbNBougie News Recap offers variety. We got Black woman's hair care, we got birth rate, and we have a tragic house fire story. Go ahead and watch the news recap and let me know which resonated with you the most. Like, comment, share. So I just saw this article on NBC Black. What Black women should know about hair relaxers and their health. Doctors explain why relaxers can be so harmful and what can people do if they think their hair straightening regimen has contributed to poor health. The damage chemical relaxers can have on Black women is coming under intense scrutiny. Several landmark studies have been published in the last year highlighting the link between chemical hair relaxers, which break down proteins in hair to straighten it, and increased rates of uterine cancer. And last week, after pressure from Democratic reps Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts and Chantel Brown of Ohio, the FDA proposed a ban on hair smoothing and hair straightening products containing formaldehyde, an ingredient known to cause cancer. As more research continues to reveal potential dangers, hundreds of Black people have filed lawsuits against big-name beauty and cosmetics retailers like L'Oreal and Revlon, blaming their chemical hair straighteners as causes of uterine cancer, fibroid tumors, and infertility. The latest research on the effects of hair relaxers was published October 10th by Boston University. According to the Black Women's Health Study, postmenopausal Black women who have used chemical hair relaxers more than twice a year or for more than 5 years have an increased risk of developing uterine cancer. And following 44,798 Black women for up to 22 years, research found a higher rate of uterine cancer among postmenopausal Black women who reported having used chemical hair relaxers for at least 10 years, regardless of frequency. Better grasping Black health and the factors that contribute to racial disparities in cancer was the intent behind the 22-year study. The idea here is that a renewed emphasis or attention to the potential dangers of these products, I hope, will spur policies and that will sort of help reduce exposure in this population or even help us identify potentially safer alternatives to straighten hair. The idea here is that a renewed emphasis or attention to the potential dangers of these products, I hope, will spur policies that will sort of help reduce exposure in this population or even help us identify potentially safer alternatives to straighten hair, said the lead author of the study, Kimberly Bertrand, an associate professor of medicine at Boston University. Revealing the potential risk of hair relaxers, she said, can help spread awareness and encourage making safer choices. To Representative Pressley, oversight into these ingredients touches upon generational issues that Black women have long grappled with. For generations, systemic racism and anti-Black hair sentiment have forced Black women to navigate the extreme politicization of hair. We've seen this play out in schools and in the workplace where Black folks have been criminalized, punished, or overlooked in personnel decisions just for how our hair grows out of our heads. As a result, Black women have turned to straightened or relaxed hair as an attempt to advance socially and economically. But regardless of how we wear our hair, we should be able to show up in the world without putting our health at risk. And manufacturers should be prevented from making a profit at the expense of our health. NBC News spoke to Bertrand and other researchers to answer some questions Black people may have about chemical hair straighteners and the potential risk to their health. What has the research said about chemical hair relaxers and women's health so far? Several studies have found that chemical hair straighteners have harmful effects on the body. Last year, the National Institutes of Health published a major study linking chemical hair straighteners to a higher risk of uterine cancer. The study analyzed data from 33,497 U.S. women aged 35 to 74 who were followed for nearly 11 years. During that period, 378 cases of uterine cancer were diagnosed. According to that report, Black women who reported using hair relaxers more than twice a year or had used them for more than 5 years had a greater than 50% risk of developing uterine cancer compared to those who rarely or never used relaxers. Additional data from the study shows. In 2021, BWHS found that Black women who used hair products containing lye, an ingredient typically found in salon relaxers, at least 7 times a year for more than 15 years, had a 30% increased risk of developing breast cancer. Among 50,543 women who participated in the 25-year study, 2,300 participants had developed breast cancer, including over 1,800 who had developed invasive breast cancers, meaning the cancers spread into surrounding breast tissue. While Black women have a 4% incidence rate of breast cancer than white women, Black women have a 40% higher breast cancer death rate, according to the American Cancer Society. October is Cancer Awareness Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And many of us Black women we know that these products are not good for us. The natural hair movement has been around or began more than 20 years ago. So the information is out there. I don't know how many studies will need to be done for Black women, to stop using these products. I don't know. Um, you guys can find this study. Like I said, it's on NBC Black. It's not good. These products are not good. And considering the fact that many of us, there have been two diverging paths. Some of us have gone natural. Some of us are still using the products. And some people are using these products on their daughters. At this point, is a choice. Just like people know what happens when you smoke, what it does to your lungs, and what kind of cancers it can bring. People know this information. They're still actively choosing to use them. The consequences could be had, and at some point, people are going to have to live with the consequences, especially since the information is out there. You guys go ahead, jump in the comments, and let me know what you think. I know I didn't do the whole article, and that's okay because you guys can look for it. But the information is out there. These products are not healthy for us, for our bodies in any way. And just go ahead and chime in. How do you feel about this? Are you natural? Are you still going to use these products? What are your thoughts? Like, comment, share. Yesterday, I was tagged in this video about Italy and its lack of births. And in this video, whoever created the video said that Italy had not had one birth in 3 months. And I was like, oh my God, that is wild. Y'all know I have been following and doing stories about the declining birth rate and how this is a global phenomenon. So obviously that piqued my interest. I do not just go and repost videos without looking up numbers because I need to verify things. I was not able to verify anything about there being no births in 3 months in Italy. So, but, they are actually in their own birth dearth. Italy as of 2020 had about 1.24 births per woman. So that is quite low. That is definitely down there with Japan. Is not quite South Korea, but this is falling in line because if you look at the blue line, back in 1960, they had just over 2 children per woman, but now it is is well under that, and women are clearly opting out. Even though I wasn't able to find anything about there being no births in 3 months, I did find this article, and I have read some articles about Italy over the past month or so. This one says, "Inside, job or baby? Italian women struggle to have both, holds back growth." So the bullet points of this article: Italy has the lowest female occupation rate in the EU. GDP to shrink sharply due to aging population. Economy minister says pension system won't hold up. Policies failing to make a difference. Now let's look at the expanded version of this article. Elena has a 7-month-old baby and is about to quit her job. Unable to overcome the difficulties of combining motherhood and work in Italy, where both women's employment and the birth rate are among the lowest in the European Union. Getting more women into the labor force is an imperative for the central bank, which has said the change is needed to support long-term economic growth. and to ensure that Italy's $2.8 trillion euro or $3 trillion debt pile is sustainable. Dealing with gender inequality, a subject that won Claudia Golden the Nobel Economics Prize this week, could also ease a demographic crisis that threatens the pension system. 5 economists, including Italy's former chief statistician, told Reuters. Research shows women in richer economies are more likely to have children if they work. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Italy's first female premier, has said that women are an untapped resource that lessens the need for immigrant labor. They do not want immigrants there. Yet her conservative government's 2024 budget, to be presented on Monday, is not expected to include measures to drive change. Italy really is a very interesting case because female participation is extremely low against the backdrop of worrying fertility rates, said Claudia Olivetti, an economics professor at Dartmouth. Speaking on condition of anonymity because she has yet to submit her resignation, Elena told Reuters she could not get a spot at a local nursery and can't afford a full-time babysitter. So we're back to the issues of childcare. Her small company employer denied her request for flexible working arrangements, she said, including some mandated by law. These people simply do not want women to work, so they cannot want women to really have babies for their country. They're just unwilling to make any concessions to help women do all of the things that women have to do. According to a government report relating to 2021, nearly 1 in 5 Italian women aged under 50 left their job after having their first child. Over half said they found it impossible to combine work and childcare. Another 29%, however, said they had been fired or not had their contract renewed. Enza Guzzo returned from her second maternity leave in October 2011 to find a dismissal notice waiting. They called me in and gave me the letter. I refused to take it, and they sent it to my home address. She found another job and sued her former employer, motivated, she said, by a desire for justice. I'm raising 2 daughters. They too could become mothers one day. I had to do it for them. You can't have kids and be forced to stay at home. Italy's female employment rate hit a record high of 52.6% in the second quarter, National Statistics Bureau ISTAT said, but it's still European Union's lowest, 14 percentage points below the average for the bloc. The Bank of Italy estimates closing the gap that would boost both workforce and gross domestic product by around 10%. Births, meanwhile, are expected to decline further from 2022's record low of 392,600, so less than 400,000, according to the academic and former ISTAT president, President Giancarlo Blangiardio. Current trends entail a drop of roughly 7 million in Italy's working age population by 2042. He said, all else being equal, that alone would drive the GDP loss of 339 billion euros, Blangiardio told Reuters, based on his simulation. Pensions already eat up more than 15% of GDP, and the government expects spending to reach 17% of output in 2042. With the current birth rates, our pension system doesn't hold up. So this country, just to recap, doesn't want women in the workplace. They don't make it sustainable for women to work because childcare is not there. They don't want immigration. That is apparent. And they know that they need women to work. I do not understand why they make it so hard for women to work, especially if they want to work, especially if people with some sense understand that it costs money to have children. Yes, I don't get it, but I do suspect that they will continue to decline, that their country will continue to get older, and that they will continue to not face the actual issues that are causing these birth declines and the aging population, and for their population to decline because of it. Y'all jump in the comments and let me know what you think. I have talked about China's birth rate decline, and I've talked about it and how it would impact the schools and how it would impact the global economy. Because let's be real, many of the things that we get and buy in the global economy comes from China. So this article speaks to how the global economy will start to be impacted or feel the impact of the Chinese birth rate decline. This one, Irish baby milk factory to close as China birth rate drops. Chinese birth rate drop has been a catalyst in the decision to close an Irish baby milk factory. The Nestle factory produced formula almost entirely for the Chinese market. The closure to happen in 2026 will mean 500 job losses. The Chinese are choosing to source local produce over imported baby products. So, the full article. Nestle says it's closing a baby milk factory in Ireland because a fallen Chinese birth rate has reduced demand for the product. The facility, which operates as Wyeth Nutritionals Ireland, makes products almost entirely for the Chinese market. The closure of the plant will mean 500 job losses. The company said the number of newborn babies in China has declined sharply from some 18 million per year in 2016 to fewer than 9 million projected in 2023, so nearly half in 7 years. The market, which had previously been reliant on imported infant formula products, is also seeing rapid growth in locally produced products. The company is proposing to transfer the production from Askeaton to two existing factories in Suzhou in China and Kono, Figen in Switzerland. It said it had tried to find a buyer for the plant, but its efforts have been unsuccessful. Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment, Simon Coveney, described the news as very disappointing. He said officials in his department will now begin a process of engagement with management and workers. The full range of state supports will be made available to the employees, and we will examine each and every option to ensure that the best possible outcomes is reached for all concerned. I have been talking about this global birth rate decline because this is going to impact us all. And this is just one feature of it. This is just one example of a company in another country feeling the impact of the Chinese birth rate decline. So keep in mind, and this is 2020 numbers, 1.28 births per woman for the Chinese. And it is probably going to continue to fall. They are not making efforts to really address the issues. And most of the issues globally where I'm seeing declines is pretty much the same. Costs are too high. Women can't go back to work. Women can't afford childcare. Women are typically the ones doing the majority of the housework and the child rearing, and women are literally just opting out. People are not addressing the root causes of the issue. And like I said, it's globally. People are not listening to women. Anyways, go ahead, chime in. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. Trigger warning, very sad story, very tragic. 3 kids are dead in plum orchard fire after father threatened to burn down house. 3 children were killed in a 2-alarm plum orchard fire early Wednesday morning, shortly after their father threatened to burn down the house. Police are investigating the fire as a homicide. New Orleans Fire Department firefighters were dispatched just after midnight to the 4900 block of America Street, where a single-family home had caught fire, trapping 3 kids inside. As firefighters worked to douse the flames inside the house, they searched for the children, quickly finding 2, a 5-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy, unconscious in the living room near the front door, police and fire officials say. Firefighters attempted to resuscitate both kids before they were transported to a hospital. They were declared dead there, according to the fire department. A second alarm was issued at 12:27 a.m. as firefighters worked to keep the flames from spreading to neighboring homes and continued to search for the third child. Firefighters found the child, a 3-year-old boy, near the center of the house. He was declared dead on the scene. Shortly before the fire was reported, the mother of the 3 children called 911 at 11:55 p.m., saying their father had threatened to burn down the house. The mother was reportedly on her way to the house when the fire started. There are no more details about this story. This was all I saw when I was searching through the various news articles to see if there were any pictures of this man, if there were any reasons that the mother had given. I had not seen anything yet, but I will update if I do find some information. If anyone is in the Louisiana, the New Orleans area, please go ahead and update me if you've seen anything locally. Like, comment, share.